Hi, I'm Chris Rush. Thank you for tuning in to my Italki teacher profile video walkthrough. So just a very brief little bit about me. I've been teaching business English completely online since 2012. I did freelancing for a little while. I stumbled around trying to find my own audience, and I really found something that is effective and repeatable with Italki. And I'm so excited to share this because it took me so long and I expended so much time and so much effort into things that brought me very little results. And when I found Italki, by experimenting with a few things, I was able to get really good results really quickly, and it took so much less time and so much less effort. So it was like I spent all this time working and building and wondering if I was ever going to see returns. And then it was almost on a whim that I said, well, let me try this italki thing and see if there's anything to it. And I tried it, and it was like boom, this instant rush of students. I was able to raise my prices twice within the first couple of weeks. And again, the reason I'm so excited about talking about this is because I was able to do it so quickly, and just a few key things is all it took for me to be able to kind of unlock this, and that's what I want to share with you. So today we're starting with the teacher profile. So I don't want so I want to get right into it. So let's go ahead, and I want to look first at the very first thing a potential student sees. So I'm going to get out of the way and we're going to take a look at my screen. So if you see here, the very first thing that a potential student sees is this. This is uh, your teacher listing, and you're going to have other teachers above and below you. So this is what they get to see. So the first thing I want to point out here is my photo. You see all kinds of interesting photos of teachers on Italki, and I wanted to make sure that I chose a photo that was of my face, that had my face maximized in the frame, that the lighting was good, that I'm making a pleasant and neutral face. And you'll see that I'm wearing a shirt and tie. And the reason that I'm wearing a shirt and tie in this picture is because of who my audience is. Who do I want to look at this and say, I want to take a lesson with this guy? And you're going to see right away, as soon as we look at my copy, it says, I specialize in business English. So the very first sentence on the very first line is letting people know what I specialize in. I'm determining who my audience is, saying who I'm looking for. And the reason that this is important, because I know a lot of English teachers that don't want to specialize. They don't want to get into a clearly defined niche because they say, oh, well, if I say I only teach these people, then I'm excluding a large number of potential students. And what happens is things are much more appealing when something is talking to you. Okay, so just take this video for example. This is a video that's made for online language teachers, and if you're watching this, it's probably because you saw that and you said, oh, that applies to me, I want to see that. I could have said this video is for anyone who wants to work from home, because teaching online can be working from home, but that's so much less appealing. It's not going to speak to people as strongly. So by clearly defining who you want to talk to, it's going to make a huge difference. So then I have one sentence about I've been teaching online English full-time since I received my TESOL certification in 2012. And then again, I'm going to target. My focus is on intermediate and advanced English learners who need a higher level of fluency. And then I have a link to my website, which is not necessary, but it's just a way that someone can get more background on me, because this is a very small amount of space that Italki gives you here, and you're going to want to use all of it. I want to briefly look over here on this side and talk about where it says my hourly rate. Okay, so you can see $3.99 to $7.99 ITC, and then under you can see $39.90 to $79.90 in US dollars. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I've never taught a lesson at $79.90 before, and I don't plan on teaching a lesson at that price. I haven't sold anything in that package. I don't promote that package. So why is it there? The reason it's there is something called price anchoring. And it's like if you ever see, and you see this all the time if you think about it, think about all the times when you've been in stores or on car lots where they have one price and they cross it out and the lower price is under that. It might seem a little bit gimmicky, but there's something, it's a concept called price anchoring. And if you see a higher price next to a lower price, psychologically it makes the lower price seem not so high. So even if it seems like a little bit strange or weird, it actually is effective. It's wired into our brains somehow as humans that when we see that, we think, oh, that price doesn't seem so high because that number is lower than the higher number. So I teach all of my lessons at this $39.90 price point. So here's this. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go right into my actual teacher profile. So we're going to go ahead and pull that up. Okay, great. So here's my teacher profile. This is what someone sees when they click on that listing that we were just looking at. So you've got some information here, and again, I don't want to spend too much time about how Italki organizes this information, but let's get right into my copy. So we're going to look at the words that I've used that attract students. So here's the first sentence. Do you need to speak better business English? Again, I'm defining the people that I'm talking to. I'm saying I'm looking for business English people. And then I'm asking more questions. Do you need to write better email to speak to international colleagues, attend meetings and presentations in English? Would you like to improve your interview skills in English to get a better job? Okay, so these are three questions that define my audience. If someone can say yes, 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 already what it does is they say, this person is for me. This is the person that understands the questions, the needs that I have. The other reason that I do this, that I start with this, is because I'm talking to the student. And I wrote about this in one of the blog posts that I shared. I'm not talking about myself. So many teachers will just talk about themselves. I went to school here. I live here. I taught there. But what you want to do is you want to address your student directly. Okay, so I propose these questions. I kind of form, do you have a problem? And if you have a problem, I have a solution. These are the skills and situations I specialize in. Okay, then I have one sentence about my qualifications. I've been teaching business English online since 2012. This isn't my hobby, it's my full-time job, and I make sure my students get results like this. Now, I've pasted a piece of student feedback that I received. Okay, so this is one of my students, and the reason I have this here, Italki has reviews. Students can scroll down and see reviews. The reason I have this here is for two reasons. When you're new, you're not going to have any reviews. And why is it that every single place that you want to buy something online, there's a review or a positive quote from a customer? It's because as humans, when we want to buy something, we want to know that it's okay. We want to know that someone else had a positive experience. So the more specific you can make this, the better. Tobias Rain, first and last name, his job title, his company, and where he lives. If Italki would let me, I would have his photo here because on my regular website, his photo is there. Okay, so then what I want to do is I talk about what's going to happen once a student wants to try a lesson with me. So we talk about what we're going to focus on in the sessions, and then I'm giving them something. Once you schedule your lesson, I'll send you a comprehensive level test so you'll know your level of English before we meet. During our trial, I'll determine your oral ability. And then this is where this one is important too. Even if you decide not to take lessons with me, the trial will give you an excellent idea of where you need to get better. So the purpose of this is to reduce the risk, to make it seem like not a big deal for someone to take a trial lesson with me. If they say, oh, this teacher is expensive and I don't know if he's for me, the point of this is to say, get your students to say, I'll just take a trial. What's the harm? I might as well take a trial. I'll have a conversation. I'll get a low-cost English lesson. Okay? Then down at the bottom, I say this is the qualification that I have. I've taught over 1,000 students from over 100 countries, and I look forward to meeting you. And so again, very little about myself. One sentence at the beginning, a little bit at the end, and I end with another piece of what we call social proof. Chris was a great English teacher. So just when someone reads this for the first time, what are they getting? They're getting who I'm talking to. They're getting my target audience. If they are a business person, if they are a professional, then this is speaking to them. They're getting the benefits of a lesson with me. Okay? They're going to learn what's going to happen once they take a lesson. Those are really important things to include. So what I'm actually going to do now is talk about what's even more important than the words, and we're going to talk about the video. So I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to stop it 3 or 4 times and talk about the reason that I said the things that I just said. So the first thing you'll notice is that if you upload a video to YouTube, which is where this comes from, YouTube will just take like a random shot and your mouth might be open and your eyes might be closed. So to avoid that, I played the video, I paused it at a spot where I was smiling and looking at the camera, and I did a screen capture, and then I uploaded that as the thumbnail. And then I was able to just take 10 minutes and put this blue box on the screen in a graphic program, Learn Business English on Italki with Chris. It makes such a huge difference so that when someone sees this, they're right away, it's appealing to them, something they want to click on. So let's press play, and I'm going to talk about why each element is included.
Hi, I'm Chris Rush, and I've been teaching Business English 100% online since 2012.
Okay, that's it about me. That's all I say. That's the only bit about my qualifications. I've already said this in the copy, so if in case someone skips it, they get that, and that's it. Okay, so now let's keep going.
I've worked with over 1,000 students from over 100 countries. I want to talk about primarily who my lessons are for. I specialize in intermediate to advanced learners who are already able to communicate but need to take their English to the next level so that they can communicate at work or get a better job.
Okay, so here I've defined my audience and I've talked about 2 benefits. Okay, so right away, and I keep saying this over and over again because it's so important, I've defined who I'm talking to and named 2 potential benefits.
So that could mean a few things. It could mean that you need to write better email. It could mean that you need to give presentations in English. It could mean that you need to understand sales meetings that you're a part of in English. It could mean that you want to get a better job, so you need to work on your job interview skills in English. So no matter what your business is, no matter what your industry is, we will be able to tailor our lessons to focus on the things that you need to learn.
Okay, so this is what I've just done. I've indicated specific problems, meetings, presentations, job interviews. I've already defined who I'm speaking to, business professionals. So now what are the problems that they're likely to be facing with English? Well, most of the business people I talk to have a hard time with presentations, with meetings, and often they want to do a job interview to get a better job. So boom, right away, as soon as you define who am I talking to, that's question 1. Question 2 is, what do they specifically struggle with? What problems do they have? And so once you know who you're talking to and the problems that they're having, then you can immediately set yourself up to say, I can solve this problem, which is what I've done. So now, for almost the whole rest of the video, I'm going to talk about benefits. Okay, so let's listen to benefit number 1.
Let's talk about what will happen if you decide to choose me as your English teacher. Well, the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to give you a comprehensive level evaluation that will include both an oral component and a vocabulary and grammar component. And so you're going to take a comprehensive test that's going to show you exactly where you need to improve. I'm going to be able to see your results, so the exact mistakes you make, I will be able to tailor your English lessons to fix the things that you did wrong so that you can be sure to improve.
Okay, benefit number 1, comprehensive level evaluation and a comprehensive level test with error targeting. Gosh, what an amazing tool. Where did I get that? That is free on Off to Class, whether you're a subscriber or not. It's a huge sales tool, and I'll talk more about that later. Okay, let's listen to benefit number 2.
So let's talk about what a session with me is like. Well, before we meet, we're going to make a personalized English action plan where we're going to go through the things that have your interests. So if you like to watch movies, or whether you like to read or listen to podcasts, whatever it is, we're going to set aside time for you to expose yourself to English every single day. So if you work with me, you're going to get English every day.
Okay, benefit number 2, a personalized English action plan. I'm again showing something that that a student is going to get when they take lessons with me. All right, benefits 3 and 4.
And so when you're exposed to English every day, you're going to be hearing things, you're going to have questions. So when you come to the sessions with me, you're going to be determining a lot of what we talk about. So maybe you'll have some vocabulary words that you're curious about. Or maybe someone said something in a podcast and they used grammar that you're not familiar with. Well, that's going to be the kind of thing that makes up our sessions. I also use the internationally acclaimed business English text, Oxford Business Result. And what makes this text so great is that it's business-themed, level-based, and communication-oriented. And going through this together, we're guaranteed to focus on all 4 skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So if you need to improve your English at work, these are the lessons for you.
All right, benefits 3 and 4. This is what we cover. I've got this textbook that I use. It's based on business English. People like it. And I talk about how there's going to be student-directed learning. Okay, so these are the big 4 benefits I talk about in my lessons. Now, the video is almost over. The only thing left is to tell the prospective student what to do. So that's what I finish with.
If you're curious about my sessions, please book a trial. We'll have a chance to sit down and get to know each other, and we can decide if this is something that's going to work for you. Thanks very much for checking out my profile. Hope to meet you in person.
Okay. This did not take me long to make. This took me probably 15 minutes to film, and out of that I cut it down to under 3 minutes. This is by no means a professional video. I sat down in front of a brick wall. There was natural light. I didn't have any equipment. I just used my laptop camera and my laptop speakers, and I didn't write a script. I just thought about it and I spoke, and I was able to come up with this. There are 3 things that really help this video stand out. Number 1, and number 1 is the most important, eye contact. Make eye contact. Look at the camera. Whether you have to memorize it, whether you have to memorize even 1 sentence at a time and film 1 sentence at a time, make eye contact. That will make the single greatest difference in your video if you're looking at the camera. Number 2, jump cuts. Okay, notice there's no stuttering in my video, there's no ums. That's because every time I did that, and every time I had to look down at my notes, I stopped. In the editing process, I removed all of those things. So I just had one long take. Like I said, it was like 10 or 15 minutes. And every time I said every time I looked away, every time I looked down, all I did was trim those out. It's not something that's complicated. Any video editor can do it. You're just cutting out the dead time. So it presents a much more seamless experience. The third thing about the video is the music. And it's so interesting what background music does in any situation. And this is what happens to me. If I watch my video before I've added the music and I think I sound bad, I say this is boring, it's dull, no one's gonna like this. And then I say, well, let me put some music in the background. And I add the background music, and then I listen to it again, and I'm like, this is great. So there's a reason that when we're watching things, we often hear music in the background, is because it kind of helps set the emotional tone. So this is where I'd like to bring this to a conclusion. I'm not going to get into pricing and the packages. There's so much more that I could say about Italki, but I feel like I really wanted to keep this dense and keep it as brief as possible about how to make your profile be as effective as possible. So the great thing about this is that you can take these things that I'm sharing with you today, you can implement them right away, whether you're on Italki or whether you're not on Italki, and these will help you get more online students. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much for being here. If you have any questions, reach out to me personally, Chris at betterbusinessenglish.co. And stay tuned because I've got a lot more great stuff coming about how to get the most out of your Italki business.